What is up, YouTube? I got my bacon, egg, and cheese bagel. I got my sweet tea. I'm up early. I think we're gonna try to get this four-wheeler started today. So, as soon as I get this stuff in my belly, we're gonna get started. We're gonna start today off with grabbing this header pipe. We're gonna clean it up, paint it up, make it look real nice. So I did get my exhaust all cleaned up, and I was taking off this shield, and I thought I was going to break both of the bolts because I knew they were going to be pretty seized up. But this one came out pretty good. This one, as you can see, broke, so I got some PB Blaster in there. I wasn't too concerned with this one because worst case scenario, I'll just cut this one off and then weld a nut on. But hopefully we'll be able to get that out, and we'll just get a bolt back in there. But I definitely wanted to be able to clean up the whole backside of this exhaust and paint it up real nice and clean up this shield. So that's why I took that off. Normally stuff doesn't work out this way, but I took the torch and I heated up this nut until it was cherry red. And I just put a pair of vice grips on the little part of that bolt that I had left. And you can see that bolt is spinning freely now. So I'm hoping to get this out. I'm just gonna work it slowly and just spin it around. I can feel it starting to bind up in a couple places. So like I said, just work it slowly. As you can see, our bolt is all freed up. Stuff never works out that easy, never. So I'm very happy with that. So I'm gonna get this thing, once it cools off of course, I'm gonna get this sanded down. I'm gonna prep it for paint. I'm gonna paint it, and then while that's getting painted, I'm gonna put the gas tank back on the four-wheeler. So here's the exhaust all cleaned up, ready to be painted. And the only part that's gonna be a pain is this part here, is we're gonna have to paint all this, and then we're gonna have to slide this little flange down and repaint that end. But it'll just take a little longer, no worries. And then here's the heat shield, all cleaned up, ready for paint. And believe it or not, this is the exact setup they use to paint Lamborghinis. So if it's good enough for them, it'll be good enough for my four-wheeler. The paint we're going to be using is this Rust-Oleum High Heat. Says it can withstand temperatures up to 2,000 degrees. So if the four-wheeler gets up to temperatures that high, we have bigger problems than the paint coming off our exhaust. This exhaust is looking fresh, looks brand new. So as this dries, I'm gonna head back down to the mini shop and get the gas tank on. So one little thing I forgot about but needs to happen before we get the gas tank on is this little engine mount needs to go back on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that on, then the gas tank will go on. All right, let's go ahead and get this gas tank installed. There's two bolts down here on the frame that need to come out. One on either side. Then we got this one bolt up top here. We'll go ahead and bolt it down just for good measures. Put a lot of work into rebuilding this carburetor and getting all those jets and everything all cleaned up. So the last thing I want is any of this fuel, if any dirt gets in the tank or any bad gas or anything. I don't want it clogging that carburetor up. So I got an inline fuel filter. I'll throw a link down in the description to where I got these, the exact ones. And I'm just gonna splice this wire here, put in my inline fuel filter, and go ahead and connect it to the carburetor. Here's the final product. Got a little bend here, but not kinked at all. And fuel should flow right on around there. And these fuel filters, they do have an arrow as to which way the fuel needs to go, so don't put them on backwards. Oh baby, we are getting very close to firing this thing up. She's definitely gonna need some oil in her if she's gonna fire up and purr. So we'll go ahead and put that in now. Should take about, I think 2.5 quarts is what the service manual says. Yep, should take about 2.5 quarts. Here's our exhaust pipe all dried up. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this and get it on the bike. These new exhaust studs are actually thicker than the old ones, so they don't go through this flange right here. I'm gonna take a drill bit and drill these holes out bigger so that'll accept these new studs. Did a dry fit up, scratched up the painted exhaust, so we might have to touch that up. But the new studs are actually wider than the old studs, so I'm going to attempt to take a drill bit and kind of mill this one out and just kind of slot it a little, get that hole further that way, and I'll probably flip it around and try to get this hole further up. So that didn't work. We're going to go up to the next size, which is 3/8, and since the exhaust is all scratched up anyways, I just threw it in the device. Figure we'll be a little safer this time. That did the trick. You can see that I don't have these studs in the whole way. We're going to get those in next. I just wanted to fit it up and be sure. But this flange does slide over nicely, and we'll be able to snug that down once we do get those studs in. So we'll take the exhaust off and get our studs in. So in order to get these exhaust studs in, the short end goes into the head and this end is for the exhaust. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 nuts on the exhaust end. And we're going to lock these together, just tighten them up against each other, and then we'll be able to drive this stud in and then break these nuts free and back them off. Our first stud's in, we'll go ahead and repeat the process for the other side. I got a new exhaust gasket for this thing. Here's the part number if you need it. Now to get this thing on, I got a little bit of grease, just regular old grease, nothing special. Now I'm going to put some grease right here on this end, and I'm going to stick this onto the cylinder head. And that grease will just help hold it as I work that exhaust into place. I'm going to go ahead and work the exhaust into position. I'm not going to torque these bolts down because that gasket in there is supposed to crush and it creates a seal. And I don't want to have it in the final position yet because I know this exhaust will be coming back off. I am strictly putting the exhaust on just to see if this thing fires up. Then the exhaust will be coming back off. I'll get it all cleaned up and finalized, but there's a good chance everything might have to come back off. I hope not, but we'll see if it starts. And we got a brand new exhaust for this thing. This is an MBRP exhaust. Never heard of them before, but we'll make it work. It's one of the few pipes that you can actually buy aftermarket for this. This is going to be pretty janky, I know. I'm just going to zip tie this exhaust up. But like I said, this is just temporary. That'll at least hold it on while we get it started. Ooh, I don't know about you guys, but I am excited. Excited to see if this is going to work. We have gas. Next thing we need is ignition, which our key is connected to this little shroud piece, which plugs into here. So our ignition switch, good to go. Says we're in neutral. I don't want this bad boy flying through the side of my shed. Oh, and we got a fuel leak. That is an issue. I'm gonna get this fuel leak figured out. We'll go from there. I was able to stop the leak. I just tapped the carburetor a good bit. I think either probably the float was sticking, and I took out this drain screw a couple times, screwed it back in. Whatever it was, loosened up and we're good to go. I'm a bit nervous, but I think everything's good to go. Let's see if she'll start. Oh. Turn the choke on. Oh, baby! Started right up. I got the choke off. I'm just gonna let it idle for a little bit. I did not think it would start that fast, but I'm so happy it did. And this is where I'm going to leave it off for the day. I ran it through a couple cycles of just letting it idle. I revved it up a little, cut it off, let it cool down. Just ran through that a couple times, trying to just break in the new piston and the new head. But started up way quicker than I thought. I thought I was going to be out here all day. Thought I was going to miss something. But turned out pretty good. Started right up. Can't be happier. So on the next video, we're going to be tackling this exhaust. I'm going to take the exhaust off again. I got to clean it up. And we also got some weird bends with this new exhaust. It's not right. I don't know what's up with it. Seems like it's a different length. So we're probably going to have to play with that a little bit to get that where it needs to be. But once we do that, it's just assembling it back together, and then we'll be riding it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to these videos. I got a lot more plans for this thing, so stay tuned. See ya.